by ensuring that this 2026 budget will be a million light years away from the controversial 2025 General Appropriations Act, tagged as the most corrupt, the most scandalous, and the most anomalous budget the Philippines has ever had in years. Mr. President, my no vote is anchored on concrete audit findings, fiscal patterns, and policy distortions surrounding various financial assistance programs or ayudas. I may not be part of the bicameral conference committee, but I have faithfully participated in scrutinizing critical aspects of this budget. From the committee hearings, sinamahan natin ang napakasipag nating chairman of the Finance Committee, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, hanggang sa isa lang na dito sa plenaryo ang committee report. Let me be clear at the outset, Mr. President, I voted in favor of the Senate committee report. I supported our Senate version because it reflected hours of rigorous scrutiny during committee hearings and plenary debates, where we collectively tried to correct the mistakes of the past, particularly those that plagued the 2025 budget and the corrupt and rotten system that gave birth to and proceeded from it. However, come the bicameral conference committee deliberations, tila bumalik sa dating forma ang mga alokasyon na maingat nating binantayan. I commend the move of both houses in acceding to the call of the people to have a transparent and open bicameral conference, and in giving the largest allocations to education, health, and agriculture as mandated by our Constitution. Yet, despite these praiseworthy actions, it seems that we have let our guards down in deterring provisions prone to abuse and political patronage. Mr. President, I am not against helping the poor. I have always fought for them. The state has the constitutional duty to assist vulnerable sectors in pursuit of social justice. But after decades of pouring billions into short-term assistance, we cannot deny that the current system of socio-economic interventions is not lifting out our people from poverty. It is merely managing it, and poorly at that. From the start, I have repeatedly expressed my position on the proliferation of ayuda programs. No matter how noble our intentions are, Mr. President, the outcomes fall short of what we envision. After years of pouring billions into short-term assistance, the hard truth remains. The lives of our people are not improving. Worse, the number of Filipino families who consider themselves poor continue to rise. The data are unmistakable, Mr. President. The September 2025 Social Weather Station survey revealed that 50%, or at least 14.2 million Filipino families, consider themselves poor, 1% higher than the 49% previously recorded just 3 months earlier. In 2024, the annual average for self-rated poor families stood at 57%, while both 2023 and 2022, the average was 48%. Even more alarming, as of November 5, 2025, about 22% of Filipino families experience involuntary hunger, going hungry with nothing to eat, at least once in the past 3 months, the highest level recorded since 1998 outside the pandemic. Mr. President, these are not abstract statistics. These are lived realities. And they beg the question, if ayuda is working, why are more Filipinos continue to be hungry and poor today? AIX, MAIFIF, TUPAD, samutsari na ang naimbentong dagdag na listahan ng mga ayuda. Iba't ibang termino rin ang nagagamit. Ngunit patuloy lamang itong naabuso at nagagamit pampolitika. At hindi ito haka-haka lamang, Mr. President. Ang Commission on Audit na mismo ang nagsabi, noong 2024 COA audit, report, binatikos ang 4.157 milyong AIX disbursements na inilabas kahit kulang ang mga dokumento. Ilang DSWD field officers din ang nag-ulat ng mababang utilization rates, non-compliance sa payment schedules at weak validation ng mga beneficiaries, creating serious risks of overestimated targets and improperly screened recipients. COA further reported a duplication between AIX and ACAP, allowing multiple availments by the same beneficiaries, assistance granted to above minimum wage earners and college students, repeated assistance within short periods from different offices, and the non-implementation of 168 out of 288 prior audit recommendations. Yet here we are again. The Bicameral Conference Committee has finished off with the greater budget for the AYUDA programs, including an additional 4.8 billion for AIX, bringing the total to 63.9 billion. A total of 22.44 billion for TUPAD, after the Senate has deliberately reduced it to 13.08 billion, or third reading from the House proposal of 21.03 billion. The revival of MyFIF at 56.6 billion, despite the Senate's earlier attempt to shift to zero balance billing to curb politically mediated medical assistance and push genuine universal healthcare reform. And the insertion of 10 billion for the presidential assistance to farmers and fisherfolk, despite its deliberate removal under the Senate committee report. These four AYUDA reforms or programs alone, now totaling 147.9 billion, are just among the many other discretionary assistance programs. The same pattern emerges in the restoration of unprogrammed appropriations. After initial assurances that these standby funds would be scaled back, the Bicameral Committee reversed its course and restored unprogrammed appropriations to 243.4 billion, even higher than the House-approved level, as far above the Senate's reduced version of 174.55 billion. This is recklessness. Mr. President, when we place massive increases in AYUDA and standby funds side by side, a troubling picture emerges. We are expanding both the soft channels of political patronage and the fiscal backdoors that allow them to be financed, all while claiming to pursue reform and discipline. This is impunity. Mr. President, other countries show us that assistance can be productive and empowering. Vietnam, for example, focuses on livelihood-enabling support, such as boats and fuel subsidies for fisherfolk, rather than endless cash handouts that foster dependency. Yet in this bicameral report, we doubled down on unprogrammed funds and lump sum assistance instead of redirecting resources toward long-term solutions for food security, jobs, education, and healthcare systems. The Philippines can take it a notch higher by enhancing the implementation of our electricity lifeline rate. Senate Bill number 63, one of my priority bills, Mr. President, aims to exempt all households consuming 200 kilowatt hours of electricity or less. A median of about 1,750 pesos for 5.5 households will only cost the government an estimated 115 billion pesos per year. This provides for a more transparent and targeted assistance for qualified individuals. It should be pointed out that under the 2025 GAA alone, Sir President, 194 billion worth of ayuda was set up for the beneficiaries of PORPIS, MAIP, AIX, TUPAD, and ACAP. Senate Bill 63 can lead the way for the re-evaluation of these programs in the future and hopes for lesser reliance on these unviable interventions. After deliberate consideration of this submitted bicameral conference committee report, on the disagreeing provisions on House Bill 458. It is with heavy heart that I cast my no vote, Mr. President. I hope that my good friend Senator Sherwin Gatchalian will find it in the goodness of his heart the reasons why I am objecting to this bicameral conference report. Masakit ang loob ko na mag-object dahil kasama niyo akong nagumpisa at nagsimula sa pagbusisi nitong 2026 budget. But I stand my ground for the conviction against the chance of possible abuses of the budget. Despite all the protective measures instilled in this budget, there is the ever-present danger of loopholes in the wordings that may be exploited. An uncomfortable reminder that safeguards on the paper do not always prevent abuse in practice. Matuto na tayo sa mga multo ng kahapon. Huwag na nating bigyan ng pagkakataon na maulit ang mga anomalyang hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa napapanagutan at nagdulot ng puot sa ating mga puso. Maraming salamat, Mr. President.